got a good amount of parts off. I don't want to take too many more off until I go through these. I was able to, for like almost 2 months, I've been trying to get my hands on a ramp set for this game. And I thought I had some secured, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and nothing ever came through. So then I started hunting around a little bit more, and a friend of mine told me that, you know, this place in Australia had some of the ramps that they used to sell a complete ramp set, but that was out of stock. But they had at least some of the ramps, and so sure enough, I looked on there. They had them, except for these two. Now, this one right here, I should be able to work with this one. It's not too bad. The entrance ball guide right here is broke, but that happens a lot on these. And then this one right here is actually pretty nice. I don't see any real problems with this. I'll be able to wash this, flame torch it. I'm not going to drill the flaps off of here and do all that kind of thing that I normally would do, because that puts these at a lot more risk of being broken, and it's just not that kind of job anyway. The rest of them I was able to find, and I'll see what comes in. Hopefully they're decent replacements, but that at least takes those out of the loop. So point being, I'm going to fix what you see in front of you, but the stuff I have shelved down there, I'm not going to mess with, because I'm going to be replacing. Bag forward. Hopefully we can clean this up. It's pretty nasty. I don't know how they get quite this dirty. Be a pretty good transformation, I'm sure. Got a new plastic set. The lamp boards, somebody's like wiped at them, and you can kind of see the dirt smeared around, but they need to be cleaned for sure. This one was actually hanging off, and I don't know why, but they had this real unusual mix where they put some LEDs in and then some regular bulbs. Always hard to figure out what people are thinking. The apron, I'm not going to clear coat that or anything. I'm just going to wash it and clean it up good and polish it. And I do have a gun in my part stash, so I'll be able to fix that. I'll wash these little grips right here so they look cleaner than this. I mean, if I was doing a Cactus Canyon, I would paint these and customize these, and you know, I would do a whole thing. But again, just not that kind of job, right? That defeats the purpose of what this is about. Now, if I look at it inside, oh man, I don't know. I was told it just needs a cabinet, but I don't know. When I look at it, I see it needs more. At the very minimum, gotta at least rebuild the flippers, probably replace the flipper coils. These look cooked. This one in particular looks almost black, and I don't know if it's got any issues or not, but probably just dirty. And so that's an issue. Pretty much anytime you're going to go through a game like this, if you're going to bother, you should at least change the coil sleeves. So that would entail taking each one of these coils apart, putting a new sleeve in it, making sure it's clean and working, and putting it back on there. I'm probably going to have to do that. I just can't not do it. You know, it's just not, I know too much about it not to want to at least address that while I'm in here. And I think that's it. I'm going to clean up some of the stuff the best I can. One good thing about this game is it does have these spade terminals, so you can just kind of pull these off and push these on. It's not on plugs or anything like that, but you know, I can easily take each coil off as far as the electrical connections go. Nothing's hardwired, so I can easily take each coil off, clean it, rebuild it, put it back on without a lot of soldering or making connectors. I'm probably going to make connectors for the two flippers just based on the fact that I don't have any flipper coils that have this push-on terminal anymore. I don't think they make it. You might be able to find some at the Pinball resource or something, but generally speaking, the coils that you're going to get will have solder-on terminals. So I'll solder a setup, convert this over to Molex, build up a new set of flippers, put them on there, or rebuild these. If the bases are good. I don't think the bases are going to be good though, because I can see where there's a screw put in here that should be a different kind of screw. So I don't know. Find out when I take it off. But anyway, I don't want to take too much off until I work through what I've got off already, because then it's just going to be a bunch of clutter. It's going to need a flipper button opto board at a minimum for this side. It's got some weird leaf switch thing going on there. Have to deal with that when we do the cabinet. So we'll start working through some of these parts. I'll get some of that stuff cut off. I'll get some of that stuff caught up, and then we'll see what's going on the top side. Start worrying about rebuilding some of these mechs and polishing the playfield. Let's break this apron down. See what I can do. It's got some glue residue on there. Let me see if I'm gonna be able to get that off now. Take some of this prep ball sparingly. Just a little bit on the rag is the best way to do it first. Just rub it and see. See if you see color. If you see color, stop. So far, so good. You need to keep checking this frequently though. Don't just like rub it once or twice and be like, oh, I don't see any color, and then go for it. Because what can happen is it can slowly start to soften the art. Some stuff will do it immediately, but some stuff will do it slowly. But don't seem to have any problems with this. I'm able to get the glue off. If I was clearing something, I probably would throw this in there, but I'm not, so I won't. And the only thing that's going to do is just make the playfield look even worse. Probably find some paint after I wash it. I'll probably find some paint that I have this close. It won't be identical match. I don't want to get involved in that, but I'll probably just maybe touch this up a little bit and put a piece of Mylar over it right there just to keep it from getting any worse. I mean, there's some things that I can do that they're not on the level of work that I would do, but I can do things to improve and preserve it or keep things from getting worse while I'm in here without a lot of effort. So we'll do that. All right. Let me cut away. I'm gonna take all this stuff in there and wash it. It's nothing you haven't seen before. I'm gonna spray it with some foam soap. Hit it with a brush, rinse it with water, blow it dry with air, and this stuff will be ready to either swap out like the plastics or rebuild like this apron, and then we can move on to the ramps. Got the apron done, no more broken gun, handles are clean, no glue residue. Got a nice shine to it, touched up and mylar'd over that wear through. Doesn't look perfect, but looks good for where it's gonna be. And we move on to whatever's next. All right, let's see. I've swapped out the plastic set. Most of these that don't have like an assembly tool, I've just put in here with the film still on. I'll peel that off when I place it. Here is the backboard, much cleaner now, a little better LED scheme. Polished it up best I could. Looks nice, no problems with that. Next is what? Okay, the lamps, or the lamp boards. I'll cleaned those, blown them dry. I will put appropriate LEDs in these, put them to the side. Then we'll get into probably, I don't know if I'll do the ramps yet or not. I might wait a little bit to do the ramps and get into the playfield polishing and get that done, because I really want to polish this playfield in this crappy cabinet. That way when the compound gets all over the sides and stuff like that, it's not inside the new cabinet, or I'm not trying to do it unsecured like on a workbench or something. So I'll probably polish the playfield before I pull it out of the cabinet. All right, I got all the mechs off of it for the most part. I'm gonna take the trough off there in a minute. It's a lot. There we go, all right. It's a lot. It's a lot of mechs here. I mean, it is, it's a whole lot. But, I mean, there's really no, you gotta take the playfield out. It's gonna be heavier with the mechs on there. You gotta rebuild them. I mean, you're gonna have a hard time rebuilding them in the games. You need to clean them. I mean, look at my hands. This is just from like 5 minutes of touching this thing. All right, one thing I'm gonna have to do also, and I mean, this has already turned into a thing. This is why I don't like to do this kind of work. But one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip the slingshot switches off. I'll put those on a plug. And the reason I'm gonna do that is you're just not gonna be able to clean and polish these switches dangling from the playfield. You're just gonna break the wires or bend them up. So I'm not gonna replace them, but you know, you can see all this gunk and stuff on here. There's no way you're gonna get that off without being able to really pay attention to it. So I think at this point I'm gonna pop the trough out of there. I'm gonna leave these on it for right now, but I'm gonna swap these for some nickel plated ones. I'm gonna blow this really well with compressed air to try to blow all that carbon dust off of all the inserts and off of whatever will come off of the wiring harness. I would love to wash it, but can't do that. And I'm gonna see what I can do. Whatever I can do for this thing, I'm gonna do it. I think I'm at a point with it, honestly, where I'm just gonna give it a certain amount of time. I'm not gonna worry about if I'm doing too much or not enough. I'm just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna dedicate the next 2 days to this or something like that. And whatever I can accomplish in that time frame is good. I have a little bit of downtime for it. You know, I just painted the cabinet yesterday. I need to decal it. Gotta screen print it, the back of the head. So I can do that while it's waiting. All right, so let's see what's next. All right, we're gonna go a little bit deeper. I'm gonna take all the post off of here. I'm definitely not taking the wire guides out. If I take the wire guides out, I'm replacing the playfield. That's that. So I'm not doing that. But I'm gonna pop all the posts out. I'll drop these targets through, and then I'll metal polish all these wire guides while they're still in here. I'll polish the playfield best I can. I'll tumble this stuff overnight, or either I'll manually polish it with a drill and put it right back in there. It just kind of depends. I mean, sometimes you think it's faster putting stuff in a tumbler and just letting the tumbler do its job, but the problem that you run into later is now you're sitting here and you gotta pick a lot of stuff out of all the little holes, and there's ways to make sure it doesn't go down the holes, like putting screws and different things in there, but that's equally time consuming. So it's kind of like just no free lunches, you know what I mean? So whatever I decide to do, I'll just pick the most efficient way to do it, because I don't want to dedicate too much more time. This has already gone way past what it should be, and I knew that heading into it. It's always like this. I don't like to do this kind of work. I think I got Cliffies for these 4 drop targets, and I think I've got a used Cliffy in my part stash for the mine hole, so that should be good. I don't know what I'll do with the shooter lane. I'm not going to turn that into a whole thing. I mean, the only way you're really going to get that ground in dirt out is to sand it. And this one, you would probably actually have to airbrush the wood tone a little bit and then clear it. And I'm not going to do that. So I'll see how far rubbing compound takes me, but that's probably going to be about it. I might have some kind of trough protector or something to disguise it, but I do like to avoid that whole, you know, everything's covered in stainless steel look. I mean, it's not anything wrong with that. I appreciate what Cliffy does, but by the time I put stainless steel here, you know, it's like, it kind of detracts from the look of the game in some ways. But they're definitely great products. They do a really nice job of hiding wear, preventing wear, so, you know, no problem with them. But for my purposes, a lot of what I do is kind of like presentation. I want it to look a certain way, and yeah, that kind of takes away from it in some ways. But we'll see how we do with it. Let me get these posts out and just clear as much of this as I can. See, I don't think I'm gonna fool with taking these posts out up here, because I don't really need to do, I can manually polish this, but I want to open up this center section so I can really buff on it a little bit. All right, let's polish these ball guides first, and then we'll polish the playfield. And the reason for that is that way, if we get any of this kind of polish on the playfield, we'll be able to polish it back off. Either one, I mean, this wouldn't hurt the playfield. It's just a matter of what's gonna be easiest. All right, not much to that. I'm gonna get my little polisher and we'll polish the playfield. All right, I'm ready. This is a little miniature air buffer. It won't run out of steam like an electric drill or something would. I don't want to put a lot on here, else it's gonna sling everywhere. Be real careful with that. wipe this off. I'm going to deal with like the switches and things like that when I take the playfield out and have it upside down. I'll probably wind up replacing them. We'll see. Those look good. It's got a nice shine to it. I'm going to clean the holes out in a second, but we'll take a quick look at it. Doesn't show that great in this lighting, I'm sure, but for what it is, it's pretty shiny now. It's real clean compared to what it was. I'd like to get a little bit of this dirt off that's around this mylar, but don't think that's gonna happen without removing it, so. All right, let's put the Cliffy protectors on there. All right, there is my repurposed Cliffy protector. I just punched a hole in to clear the mount right there, and then I think this part will get sandwiched under the post easily enough. If not, I'll put a little washer right there. And this one I like the best. It fits the cleanest, and it just, you know, it seems like it's gonna make for the better gameplay. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do is pull the playfield actually out, put it on a stand, work on the underside of it some, and rebuild the mix. Put the parts in the tumbler. While those tumble overnight, I'm gonna deal with all these coils that I washed. I gotta blow them off good, degrease them. I'll probably wind up soaking these switches in some lacquer thinner, bring these ball guides, all that stuff. All right, let me see if I can find the tripod and get it. Before I forget, here is the cabinet that we did yesterday. You can see a lot more wood grain in that than you would in my normal work, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's gonna be fine for this project, especially with some new decals on it. It's gonna look very factory. That's what it's gonna look. So that's good. You can see that grain in the inside. I don't know if they want interior art or not. I didn't ask. I might throw some on there just to hide that, but that's not really to cut corners. I would have easily fixed everything, but again, this is not supposed to be that kind of job. I do need to screen print the back of the head. Let's do these ball guys real quick as everybody. How's this look? Good? All right. Now, let's see how we do. All right, now I want to put some of the parts back on the playfield. So when I do pull the playfield out, I can put the nylon locking nuts on there while it's upside down, deal with the jet bumpers, stuff like that. So I'm gonna put the ball guides back on it and these through posts. I'm just gonna turn these in my drill with some polish and place them back one at a time. And then that way, while I got all the hardware for it out, I can reattach it when I have it flipped upside down on a stand. All right, that's how I'm gonna do that. So let me get this done and I'll come back on in a minute. Okay, so the playfield's out, and tomorrow I'm gonna switch some of these corroded parts out for nickel plated parts, gut the cabinet, clean the parts that I take out of there, get the cabinet decaled, finish the edges, and start to really just kind of reassemble this game, putting it back together to where it's not taking up so much room. Would love to take this entire wiring harness off and really clean it, with soap and water and wash it good, but there's really no way to do that without total removal. And if I remove the wiring harness on top of everything I've done up to this point, I might as well just swap the playfield. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna work around it, see how close I can get it to looking like I would like it to look without major surgery. And that's pretty much it, right? So that's where we're at for today.